everyone. Welcome to your session today on the Introduction to Enhanced Remote Instruction. My name is Shubha Kashyap. I'm the Director of Online Learning Design and Innovation for Nexus at the College of Engineering, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the session today. We're going to be talking about remote, online, and hybrid instruction, but I'd like to first start off by acknowledging the dynamic times we're in. We as a university have made a decision to move forward with making public health informed decisions. And this involves delivering courses across multiple modalities. That means hybrid, that means in person, and that means some online or fully remote. And this has certainly accelerated all the conversations around remote teaching or where our students may be geographically distributed. So I urge you to consider using this opportunity to re-envision how you teach your course or how you support your course. What this means is that as we continue to grow in a global context, our skills in working and communicating with learners and individuals across time zones, across geographic boundaries, in a global context will continue to grow. Communication is going to continue to head in this direction in a global workforce. And so use this opportunity to leverage and develop those skills now and set the best example you can for your students. This is how they will work in the future, quite possibly. And what a great way for them to not only learn the content of your course, but also learn from the best examples you set about how to maintain communication in distributed times. So today we're going to talk about quality, hybrid, and online instruction. And this is something that the college has spent quite a bit of time thinking through. So I'm going to share some information with you about this. We know that high quality instruction involves certain key things. While we may all have a different understanding of it, we all know that it all involves a high quality learner experience, which means a focus on the learner. There are clearly articulated learning objectives that we share at the beginning of the course with our learners, and we remind them throughout the course as a way to demonstrate the alignment of content and our assessment strategy. A high quality course is a well-organized course. That's no question. We all want to make sure that we create an organized learning environment for our students. It's also highly engaging and student-centered. So all of these things are what makes up quality instruction. This also exists in the online space. So what I urge you to consider is that if all of these qualities exist in the online space, what's different? And what I offer is that the difference is that we need to have some intentional strategies to address how to achieve these goals in a remote and distributed format. So I'm going to share with you 3 buckets. So this is a big topic, and your course over the next several days is going to cover this. But I found that the most digestible way to cover this content is in 3 major buckets. And for the purposes of this presentation, we're going to call them minimum quality standards. And you'll get more information about this as you progress through your orientation. But I'd like to give you a brief overview about these 3 areas. The first one is course setup and structure. The second is content, activities, and assessments. And I think this is where most people spend most of their energy as they prepare to teach and support a course. And the last bucket is engagement and interactivity. So I'm going to go into each of these buckets, and you will hear more about this as you progress through your orientation. The first one is course setup and structure. And here's where I like to ask you to consider that if you're walking into an online course space, think about setting up your course space with a certain design and navigation and providing students with a roadmap for how to be successful in this course. This may be the first time you or your students are in the online course environment, and I know a roadmap is certainly helpful when navigating a new space. Think about your online course in the same way. The first one is centralize your access points. Leveraging Canvas for the tools it involves allows you to centralize all of your announcements, your communication, maybe posting where your lectures are located, where you can submit and receive assignments. Canvas allows for that functionality. I also would urge you to consider that Canvas also has multiple tools that can be integrated into the platform. So before you go looking for another solution that meets some of your technology needs, consider that Canvas may already have some of that functionality built in that you just need to turn on or activate. Next area is share your expectations. When you're in a face-to-face course or an in-person course, students generally know what to expect, or you establish the rules of engagement in that space. Consider what that looks like in the online space. Do students know what you expect of them in terms of class participation or dialing in at specific times? Consider posting that information upfront in your course Canvas space and syllabus. And then the next one is create a roadmap. Let students know what you expect with them when it comes to specific details. In a class, in person, submitting a homework assignment may be pretty straightforward. But when you are navigating this in the online or hybrid space, it's very helpful to articulate those expectations in writing up front so students know exactly what to expect. Do you want them submitted to you as PDFs? Do you want them submitted in Canvas? How would you like this? What format should the assignments be in, and how would you like to receive them? One strategy that we've heard is particularly successful is faculty are creating introductory videos for their courses so that they and the GSIs can explain what they expect of students, and it creates a more personal roadmap for the course. The second bucket, again, is where most energy is often spent related to the delivery of a course. And that could be in person, in a hybrid format, or online. So consider some opportunities that you can leverage given that you may be in the online format. So one of the areas I like to suggest is ensure that your course objectives align with your assessment strategy, and consider the various tools you can use to use assessments in Canvas, or consider an alternative assessment strategy that allows for students to create new original thought-based submissions. And then I also suggest considering the development of a rubric. While you're developing the assignment, develop a rubric so you can maintain objectivity in how you assess the submissions of the students. Second, plan for your delivery modes. Maybe you want to pre-tape some lectures. Maybe you'd like to do some things synchronous and some things asynchronous, which means live or pre-recorded. You may want to have certain meeting times where you do some live streaming, but you may decide to record it so that students who are not able to dial in at a specific time can watch later. You may decide to have discussion boards as a way to generate community and communication among your students in the course. You'll learn more about this as you progress in the course, in this orientation. The next one is leveraging online. This is a little bit of a twist, but consider what you could do online that you may not be able to fully do if your course was in person. Is there flexibility to allow students to watch pre-recorded lectures? Is there opportunities for students to interact with each other at their own time and space and then report back their findings? Is there, as an instructor of the course or a GSI or an IA for the course, you may also need some flexibility. And so maybe there's ways that you could also consider leveraging the online space to deliver your course. Happy to chat about some ideas as we go through your orientation on this. The third bucket is around engagement and interactivity. And this is one of the areas that is often the most fuzzy for folks, where they want to make sure that their students maintain connection and engagement and interaction with the faculty, GSIs, and IAs, but also amongst the students within the course. What I would suggest is one tip we've heard that is helpful is to create communication in advance and post about how and where students can get help. Putting that up front may help alleviate a lot of extra questions later. Another strategy people have considered is if they establish norms around communication. Maybe the faculty member for the course posts an announcement that kicks off the new week and sums up the previous week every Monday. And maybe the GSI posts an announcement about what they're going to be covering at the next office hours every Thursday. That rhythm of communication really helps to establish norms and connection and interactivity with the students. The next one is teaching with empathy. This is extremely important in today's dynamic times. You may have students who are geographically distributed. Maybe they aren't in the location they thought they would be when they kicked off this semester. Maybe they have technology or bandwidth issues. Maybe they're helping with family responsibilities that they would have otherwise not had they been in Ann Arbor for their program. Consider that when you're building your course, what areas do you expect students to participate in live, where they may have connection issues, maybe what your backup or contingency plan is for students who may have technology issues. And working with geographically distributed students often involves time zones. Make sure that if you give an exam that has a timed component, that you maybe offer some alternatives for students in different time zones, or be mindful of some of the challenges they may face if they're not in the Mid-Michigan area. The next piece is related to thinking through office hours. This is one we've heard a lot about. Consider that you may want to ask students to submit topics in advance of what they'd like to hear about in office hours. Traditionally, office hours is a line outside your office, so students talk one-on-one. But maybe if you had a group Zoom session and you knew up front what the students want to talk about, it could be an open space for discussion, and it also could be recorded for students who were not able to attend. And I also encourage, if you do have students who need to speak with you one-on-one for private, confidential, or academic matters, that you create some Google appointment slots on your calendar that students can sign up to meet with you one-on-one in private sessions in a virtual format. Again, lots of tips, and not everything works for every course, but we're just trying to get the wheels turning on some of these ideas. So with that, I'm going to wrap up today's introductory session. I'm looking forward to hearing about how the next few days of your orientation goes. To wrap up, just keep in mind the communication component online is extremely important as you're transitioning to a remote format. And that communication is with the faculty, with the GSIs, with the IAs, and the students. Keep everyone in the loop about the plans or how things are going. Ask your students how things are going. GSIs, ask your instructors how you can support the process and keep those communication lines open, frequent, and touch base on a regular basis. I've listed some links here to resources. Now you're going to get a lot of resources through this orientation, but I know the CRLT Engine page has a lot of information about various programs and resources that are there to help. We've also listed the Nexus Faculty Resources page, which is continuously updated on various topics that we hear are of areas of interest for faculty, GSIs, and IAs. So click around and see what's out there. There's everything from pedagogical tools to technology tools. With that, I know this is just kicking off your orientation, so I know you have next steps, but consider when you listen through this orientation, what pieces you'll adopt into your own teaching style in the coming semester. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, and I look forward to the success of this upcoming semester. Best. Thank you.